This past Wednesday evening, I joined several colleagues in leading a Hamptons-wide prayer rally expressing grief, support, and solidarity in the wake of the horrific massacre perpetrated by Hamas against the state of Israel that left over 1,200 dead, thousands more wounded. I noted that up until this past weekend, if you had listened to experts or communal leaders speaking about the international Jewish community, you would likely have heard their concern of a growing disconnect between the American Jewish community and the Israeli Jewish community, that we see the world differently, that our Judaism expresses itself differently, that our political choices are arrayed differently. And all of that may still be true. But the outpouring from across the Jewish world demonstrates more than support or national solidarity. This moment is about empathy. When the book of Exodus describes how God first addresses Moses from the burning bush, the rabbis of the Midrash wonder why God chose to appear to Moses from a bush, low, undignified. Couldn't God have found something more majestic, a tall tree, maybe even a steep cliff? And the rabbis answer that God was signaling to Moses that, in the words of the psalmist, Imo anochi batzara, that I am with you in distress, that the Egyptian oppression was not just something that God observed, but something God felt as well. According to this understanding, the exodus from Egypt, the beginning of Judaism, was not based on right and wrong or God's sense of justice. It was based on empathy, on God's sense of relationship. No wonder that empathy is a Jewish calling card. It's a moral imperative so deeply rooted in our tradition. Empathy could well be the foundation of Jewish survival, the wellspring of Jewish resilience in the face of persecution and oppression. Empathy is more than the feeling that compels us to help when we see others in trouble. The feeling that help compels us to ease the burden of those who are suffering or to provide comfort and support to those who need. And we've seen such powerful examples of all of that across the Jewish world and beyond as the scope of the atrocities become clear and as the state of Israel moves into a war footing. Empathy is really the recognition that when we see others in distress, we are also in distress. And that empathy, that solidarity that we feel with our brothers and sisters in Israel reinforces our shock and our horror towards those who simply don't see Israelis or Jews as human beings. Our empathy defines us. Their complete lack of it defines them. At the burning bush, Moses asks God, "What is your name?" And God says, "I will be that I will be." The rabbis understand that this reflects God's commitment to be with the Jewish people through future struggles, just as God was with them in their original struggle. Our gatherings and vigils make the same pledge. Just as we share the pain and struggle of our brothers and sisters in the state of Israel today, we will continue to feel that deep solidarity, that empathy, through the many difficult days that are surely on their way. Shabbat Shalom.